All right. Hey, everybody. This is NSPS. How you guys doing today? Hey, you know what? Last week we were in Texas. Now we are in Pennsylvania with a team called Paranormal of the Unknown. I mean, Shadows of the Unknown. I'm sorry. Hey, guys, introduce yourself. Patrick and Jim, what's going on, brothers?
Oh, nothing much. I'm Patrick. I'm from the state of Pennsylvania, but I'm also living in the state of Utah. Yeah, it's all right here, but you know.
The team and everything
Jim,
gets cold.
what's up?
Warm. I want the warm back.
Well, it's not as warm as you think it is. We've had some
Hey,
cold nights.
All right. Okay. Hey, tell the world a little bit about your team, man. What you guys are into out there?
Jim, do you want to go first, or do you want to go first, Jim, or do you want me to start, or how do you want to do this? Okay. Well, I'll let you start, Jim, because you.
I started with the first started back in 2005.
I can
Yes.
barely hear him.
Yeah, I can barely hear him as well.
Houston, we have a problem.
A problem that he can get fixed.
All right, is that better now?
That's a lot better. Now we can hear you loud and clear.
All right.
Yeah, that's a
There
lot
we go.
better.
Anywho.
But sorry about that.
All right, Jim, tell me a little bit, man. That's okay. That's okay. Hey, let's get this party started. Hey, man. Tell the world a little bit about Shadows of
The team started back in 2005. I took over in 2012. The team started as a 3-guy group and didn't really go anywhere. And I had the opportunity to take it over, and I took it, and now I made it better than it was. A lot better. I expanded from the team to different places on the East Coast here a little bit. Now we just expanded out to Utah, which is Pat is department, which he is my lead out there in Utah. So he's going to be running a group out there and everything. So we'll have different teams.
Yep. So the thing is too, you know, we have a lot of cases out here that need to be looked into, different places, and what we do is very serious. We deal with a lot of things that a human really shouldn't have to deal with, and that's basically what both of me and Jim and our team from both locations deal with. We don't take these kind of issues very lightly. I'm currently working on a case actually here in my job where there's been a lot of activity going on, stuff that's been caught on camera that I'm still trying to get footage for. It's just hard because I have to rewind tapes and get stuff from the DVR. But a lot of sightings throughout. I've even ran some EVPs, but unfortunately, these tests have come back inconclusive, which means to me that I'm not saying that there's nothing here. I'm not saying there is something here, but they're just inconclusive. I can't say if there is something here, but you know. But we have many places that are either abandoned and haunted or active and haunted. So we deal with stuff like that all the time.
Cool. All right. Hey, Jim, tell me a little bit about Pennsylvania.
Well, Gettysburg is our hot spot. and everything. I love Gettysburg, so if people know about the war in Gettysburg, everybody should know about the war and everything. I have a typical place I love in Gettysburg. It's called Sachs Bridge, and it's my favorite place in Gettysburg to investigate and everything. I am trying to get back into one of my other favorite locations and everything, but right now they're remodeling the hotel. So I'm waiting on to go back there, and I did another hotel, which I still can't believe what I saw that night and everything, but I don't know how to explain it, but it was awesome. So that's all I can say. But I mean, Pennsylvania has a lot of hot spots in the paranormal field. I mean, there's a lot around here. I mean, everybody said, yeah, Gettysburg's hot. Yeah, Gettysburg's hot. But there's a lot around even where I'm at right now and everything. There's a place right down about like 3 miles away from my house and everything. It's supposedly haunted. If anybody remembers the first episode of Ghost Hunters and stuff like that and everything, it was here in my hometown. Here I live and everything, and stuff like that and everything.
Yeah, that's like here too. I mean, we have one in a place we have a couple places here, and one of the major hotspots that I have found out here is a place called Skinwalker Ranch. Oh, excuse me. If you don't know what a skinwalker is, a skinwalker is basically a witch that will take on human form, and they are very violent. They will physically eat you alive. And somebody has bought in the ranch. At one time, they weren't allowing television crews out there or nothing. So now they're okay. Let's give it a shot. We have another place. It's of course in the Insane Asylum is now basically a haunted attraction for Halloween time and all year round.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also another very specific case that me and Jim have been. Jim, I think you know where I'm going with this. That we've been working with for almost like how many months now, Jim? I've declared it case not to be closed. We've been working on this case on and off. I'm sure you've probably heard of the Smurl case. Big time, stuff going on there. And believe it or not,
I just got done tagging you in something about the Smurl case last night.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, there have been a lot of things going on, and believe it or not, some of the children are still alive today. They have children of their own, and one of them is concerned because she believes that her daughter is starting to see things. She thought it left and wasn't coming back. Well, it followed them. So that's one case we've been working on in the state of Pennsylvania, actually in Pittston, which is maybe 2.5 hours away from you, Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just one of the.
I mean, the Smurls.
Yeah.
It was made into a movie too. Don't forget The Haunt and American Woman.
Yeah, you can. Our viewers can catch that on YouTube. Just look up The Haunting, full video. You'll be able to watch it from the beginning, and everything that's in that film is exactly what happened piece to piece. Now, of course, the people in it, they're not the actual family, no. But there's also another case, Jim, that I want to bring up into this. Penhurst. Penhurst is an insane asylum out in Pennsylvania, near closer to you, Jim, towards that part of the woods.
Yep.
It's been closed down for many years. I've been told that there's been satanic occults going on there, and so much. It's a long story of actually what's been on there. You can find also documentaries on Penhurst, also on YouTube.com.
Oh, wow.
There's a place
like you guys are busy.
There's a place that was just on Ghost Hunters not too long ago. So it was actually right up the road. I was just up there with my wife a couple weeks ago and everything, and we want to investigate that place, but but we gotta get the team, everybody together.
We try to stay as busy as we possibly can when it comes to this kind of thing, because we don't take this very late. We
exactly.
Color code we don't believe that any of this is a big joke, especially when it comes to unfortunately possession. I've dealt with many of them. I've even performed a lot of exorcisms on them. Unfortunately, some of the cases that I've done have not went very well. I've actually lost about 5 people throughout my years, but it's we look into a lot of cases, and some of these cases are serious. Some of these cases are. Jim, what's the psychological or there you go, psychological. So whenever we get a
Yeah.
claim or a call, it's like, let's start with this. Let's look at this, see if there's actually evidence of what's going on, or see if it's psychological. And we're not saying that it's a psychological problem isn't a good thing, but it's not a bad thing either, because they can't help what they see. You know, they can't help that
Right.
they're dealing with this. It's not their fault. But that's why we look from the very beginning. We get all the information. We do the interviews. We get, you know, we do a lot. We do a lot.
Yeah, I'm still working on a case that I've been working for years on. I'm still getting info on it and everything. I just got info a couple months ago on it. I talked to a guy who's writing a book about it and everything.
And
So
you know,
I've been still getting info.
Yeah, hold on a minute. See, a lot of people say, well, you're just doing this because it's a hobby. It's not a hobby. This is some serious stuff that we deal with. And a lot of people don't get that. They're skeptical. And we're okay with skepticals, you know. What was that, Jim?
Like I say, don't mess with the paranormal, because if you don't know what you're doing with it, don't do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, that's
you gotta,
yeah, that's one thing I preach a lot, because you got to take this serious. You have to take this as serious as a job, because there are,
see,
things can happen to you.
Right. I don't mean to cut
I've
you
been
off.
attacked twice.
Exactly. We've had team members physically attacked, and we're not going to disclose their names because it's confidential. But we've had team members attacked, not just physically but mentally. It can put a mental effect on you. But
yeah, I'll tell you what, dude. You guys. You're absolutely right, man. It is dangerous. I mean, and you have to take this serious. This is something that you just can't decide that you want to do overnight, because it takes years of training, years of reading, research, and just talking to people.
Right, and see, as paranormal investigators, Jim, I want to explain something, and I want to see if you agree with me here. I've been told personally that I'm a demonologist. No, we're not demonologists. We're not, ghost hunters. We're paranormal investigators. That is our title. Do we deal with demons a lot? Yes. Do we deal with good spirits a lot? Yes. Do we know how to get rid of them? Of course. But we're not demonologists. We're not what's other terms, Jim? We're basically paranormal investigators.
Yeah,
we're here. We're
investigators.
Yeah, I look at it this way: we're like I basically have a motto, and Jim, you've heard me say this before. We are here to protect and serve spiritually, not physically. We're not the police department. We don't protect and serve physically. We protect and serve spiritually. And Jim, you've heard me say that multiple times.
Yeah, we don't class as clients too, and everything. We call them as victims.
Right.
Because and pretty much a victim from this.
Right. And
the police.
And I basically had to kind of make that very clear to Jim, because when you say the term client, you're thinking of somebody dealing with a psychiatrist or a nail salon. These aren't clients. These are victims. These are victims that are victimized by their issue.
I mean, we had that case not too long ago, Pat. You know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
That we kept on tabs with her, and everything. So far, things have died off a little bit, but we do still keep contact just to make sure. I told them, I said, if they need us again, we'll be right there and everything.
Yeah.
You know, we don't like when we go to a case and everything. When we're done with the case, we're not done with the case ever. If they need us still, we're still going to come out and help them no matter what and everything.
Right.
If it comes back,
No.
we're coming.
Right. So let me re-clarify that, Jay.
Yeah.
This is closed. Yeah, closed. But we're not done because you don't know if there's always going to be another issue. Because you can have one case close it, but then another issue arises. So it's not that. It's kind of hard to explain. But no. Once a case is closed, we move on, and then if they have another problem, then we look at it as another case, which means they start the process all over again. You know, do we have all their old information? Yeah. So we don't have to go through too much back, but you know, we have to start a whole new interview, and we'll always be there for the victims that have problems with this, no matter what happens. Now, as far as commercial properties, they're a little different because, especially abandoned commercial properties, you don't have really people living in them. So once those cases are closed, they're closed. You know, unless it becomes an active building again. Once it becomes an active building and then they have problems, then of course we're willing to go back and take a look and see, you know, how we can protect it. Especially, so let me put it this way: you have a couple of buildings that are a couple of places that would require a lot of help. One, if a building involves children, like a school. There are many active schools, especially down here, maybe about 45 minutes to an hour away from here. We have a high school. They claim that it's haunted, but it's still active. Okay, there was a team. I can't remember the team, but there was a team that was out there already, and they clarified there was something there, but there really wasn't. Then you got hospitals. Okay, hospitals are a big one because of the fact that you have a morgue downstairs in the basement, and a lot of people die in hospitals. So guess what happens? Their spirits arise, and they linger around the halls of the hospitals. Then, of course, you have insane asylums. Insane asylums are basically the same thing as a hospital. You have a morgue, things happen, suicides happen. You know, you can't help that. But then again, you have buildings like high-rises or places for the elderly that are still active. Our main concern is if there's children involved, we're on it. They're our first priority, especially when it comes to the elderly. We're right on it because they are more vulnerable than anybody in their 20s to 30s, maybe even 40s. A child is more vulnerable because they go through puberty, and that could be a problem. The elderly, they're weak, they're sick. You know, they're more vulnerable to that. So those are our number one priorities. Now, again, we base our cases off of color codes. I gave this idea, Jim, you know what I'm talking about. We go off the colors of a street light. Code green, code yellow, code red. Code red, we don't really avoid it, but when we ever get a code red case, we take that extreme, like that is our main priority. Besides, you know, children, because a code red would basically mean possession. Code yellow, it's a mild case. We still look into it. It's more of a serious problem than a code green. Code green is basically just, okay, you have a problem, we'll come look at it. You know. So, like I said, you know, we deal with a lot. We deal with a lot.
It seems like it. Now, I like you were saying, I also color code just about everything that we does. From, like you said, Patrick, from the kids all the way down to the elderly to the young people, because you really don't want anybody, you know, that comes out, you know, tells you a bullshit story, you know, and just to say that
we've had a couple of those too.
You know,
I think we lost Jim, but yeah, we've had a couple of those.
You know, just to tell you, hey, you know, I've got this going on, I got that going on, and you know, you go out there and investigate, and it's a bunch of bull
Well, see, we Jim
Right.
actually started this because we we take this very seriously. So it's like when you call 911 and it's a hoax, there's you have a legal issue. So what Jim has decided to do is, if we get a hoax call or a joke call, we will notify the local PD and say, hey, we have a falsified report, and they will handle it most of the time, or even some.
I had that twice.
Yeah.
I had it twice happen and everything with the same guy
Mhm.
that called on the same claim, different locations.
Yep. Yeah.
And the officer looked at me like, okay, we're going to take care of it, but
Yeah.
he didn't believe in it, but but
Right.
so he did his
So-
job and stuff like that. So.
Right. See, what I've noticed is with this team is they're a little different than any, especially those ones that you see on television. A lot of them will use CGIs. A lot of them use camera tricks. You're messing with something you don't want to mess with. Us, we want to try to make sure that every piece of information that we deal with our victims is accurate, true, and not computer generated. Eventually, Jim,
I
I'm
have a
gonna bring
strict
this.
policy on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring this up. We're also in the process and trying to work on getting our own television show on one of the major networks. Our rule is there is not supposed to be any type of CGI. I don't care how much money it brings us. No CGI. Everything, whether we have a live show, it's going to be done live. Right there, you're getting all the effects right there. We are actually working on, in the middle of working on also a podcast channel. We're trying to get one of those going. So, me and Jim, this is my second one with Jim. Jim, you will verify that he has done many of them.
I did a radio show with Dead Zone.
Yeah. So, we're trying to not only do what we have to do for our victims, but we try to have some fun in the meantime. You know what I mean? Podcasts, TV shows, no matter what it is, we're always trying to do something. You know what I mean?
Make it real as possible and
Okay.
everything's people
We bring in Sterling. Okay.
Oh,
How
thank
you
you for
doing
having me.
tonight, Mr. Sterling? How's things going?
Oh, everything's good and well. I hope you can hear me
Do you
okay.
have a question for these gentlemen? Yes, we can. If you could turn your mic down just a moment for just a sec. You're getting a little bit of back noise here. Is there any questions that you would like to ask these guys? Feel free to do so.
Okay, well, first, I just turned my mic down. I hope that's a little bit better.
Hold on just a minute. Are you okay?
Yeah, that's
sound
fine.
good.
That'll work.
I'm just making sure. I want to, because what time are you supposed to be out of here?
Well, I'm just joining, and it's a fascinating conversation. I'll be honest and put my cards on the table. I'm not necessarily a believer in things paranormal, but I'm very interested in them. So, with that disclaimer, I would say, what would you say to somebody who is looking for hard evidence in these claims of supernatural and demons? What would you say to someone who's a skeptic like myself?
Well, like, see, we
just had this question the other day.
Yeah,
we just had this
we
question
actually-
the other week.
Yeah, we just had this question a few weeks ago, and I basically look at it this way. Here's a question for you. Do you believe in Bigfoot? Do you believe in aliens?
No.
Okay. Basically, if you believe in Bigfoot and you believe in aliens, you're also believing in the dead world. You know what I mean? You're believing in not just good spirits, but also evil spirits. And it's kind of hard to really, because a lot of times, let me put it this way, a lot of times, and Jim, I think you'll agree with this, a lot of times it's hard to get evidence of something like that. That's why it's called the unknown. This is why it's called, paranormal. Basically, the definition to me of paranormal is things that can't be explained. Things happen that can't be explained. So it's like, okay, how do you explain it? There's the evidence in this. So it's kind of hard to figure that out because I'm sure we've had problems trying to get evidence of something that actually, for our victims, we've had a hard time getting evidence of stuff on cases.
Yes. Hard to
So-
explain. You go over it and go over it and go over to make sure you're seeing what you're thinking you're seeing.
Right. So it's, we do accept that there are skepticals out there. They
Guys, the here is. But
He's cutting out.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Let's see, you were cutting. As long as you were cutting out there for a second.
You know, yeah.
he's having video. Yeah. But Mr. Sterling, any other questions while we wait for?
Yeah. But you know what?
I don't want to interrupt.
Okay, he just froze again.
Yeah, weathering.
He left. We'll be back.
Got is there?
We're here.
We're here, but you're cutting up really bad. Unless it's just me.
No, it's me too. Anyway, so I'm trying to figure out what's going on here too.
Me too. Sorry, I'm trying to figure a lot of things out.
Anyway, so I guess while we're waiting for him to come back, and my buddy just left, I'm sure he'll be back. What other questions do you have here?
Well, listen, this one's crazy, and we don't have to necessarily go down this road. And I'm really not trolling at all. I swear to God, I come with honest intentions and just put all my cards on the table. But I guess my question on the same line of questioning would be, if there was some way, let's choose demons, for example. Okay, let's say that. I don't believe in demons. I lack a belief in demons. That demons are real. Okay, and if we wanted to test it, even if I was crazy and I was open to doing anything, saying anything, even though I'm sure you wouldn't advise that. But is there a way to test it? Is it falsifiable?
It is. There are ways to testing it, but and like you said before, we wouldn't suggest you trying. So there's always a Ouija board. There's always tarot cards. Even to a point, there's sometimes crystals. There's so much you can do to test it. But the thing is, you got your life on the line because you're bringing in. You have now just invited something demonic into your home, and you don't know exactly what you brought in, except knowing that it's a demon. You don't know what kind of demon it is that you just brought into your world, into our world, into your home. So we wouldn't advise it, but we've dealt with cases where people were, in our case, stupid enough to try it. And then they got a problem, and then, it's like, well, you brought this upon yourself, so we're going to help you fix it. But try not to do it again. We have certain tools that we use to prevent things from getting worse. I'm losing them again. I'm losing them again. I'm sorry, you keep losing your connection here, and I'm wondering if it's a storm. And Jim just got booked backstage again. Can somebody let him through? I don't know. But yeah, we wouldn't really suggest trying any of those. Because then again you'll have a problem on your hands, and yeah. Actually, I didn't catch your name. What is your name up in the corner there? What is your name? Yeah.
So, wow. So you don't know the host? This is the host over here, correct?
Yes.
NSPSTV. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me. And you're a paranormal investigator, Patrick, and you
Yes.
just found this stream for the first time and jumped on to share, your experiences. Is that right?
Not necessarily. From what I understand, we were invited by the host to talk about this. So yeah, we were pretty much invited to do this and talk about this, and we're more than glad to do it. You know what I mean? We're happy to do it. Um, it looks like we lost. He's coming back.
How do
Oh,
you
we
think
lost
the
him.
host? How do you think the host found you?
I had honestly, I don't even know. He actually contacted my buddy Jim. He contacted him and said, basically, if I'm correct, hey, want to do a show with me? Okay, sure, fine, yeah. So it's kind of like one of those things.
So, do you run a YouTube channel, or you have a private business that is for
It's
profit?
no, we are actually a non-profit organization, so we help freely. Donations aren't required, but we've had a lot of people willing to donate money. We use that basically for the team's use. Um, like if we needed new equipment, if we needed, because we travel, so for gas and stuff like that. So it's kind of we just keep on losing.
This is wild. This is kind of wild for me.
I think it's because he's having bad weather.
And if you don't mind me asking, like, what are those back there? CDs or books or records? I can't see behind
So,
you.
no, it's okay. This is my workplace. I'm currently at work. Yes, those are a
Oh,
bunch
okay.
of DVDs and stuff. Yeah, so
Oh, okay, cool.
looks like we got our buddy back. I'm sorry. Now you were asking a question. You said you were asking a question about demons. So what was your question again? You were cutting in and out before.
I was.
No, the
Oh,
host.
All right, guys. Sorry about that, man. It's crazy. I
Oh,
don't
you're
know
okay.
if it's the weather or what, but hey, Sterling, it says you are a skeptic. Am I right?
correct.
Okay. What makes you a skeptic? Tell me something out there that you just don't think that whatever that we investigate is not really going on. What?
Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll jump in on that. Well, I used to believe a lot of things. I used to believe have a religion. I used to believe in Bigfoot, aliens, and many things. And then I kind of like when I was about 18 or 19, I lost my religion and began questioning everything and kind of went on a mission to find out what else did I believe that wasn't necessarily true. Or did I have good evidence to believe the things that I was convinced of? Or did I
Okay,
believe them? Sorry.
no, I'm sorry. I want to ask you a question then because you just said that you lost your religion. See, here's a question. Here's a statement. As a matter of fact, I believe that believing is seeing, not seeing is believing. So you don't have to necessarily believe that. You don't have to necessarily see something to believe it. Like for instance, let me use money. Money is a good topic. Okay, there's money out there. You believe that there's money out there. You know, but you believe to see it. Like you kind of see what I'm saying here. Like you trying to get the concept of what I'm saying here.
I don't think so.
Okay, so around Christmas time, around this time of year, people will say seeing is believing. So you have to see something to believe in it. But the question is, do you have to, again, back to the money? Do you have to see money to believe that it's out there? Do you have to believe that? Do you have to see, like I said, like again, do you have to see money to believe in it, Or do you have to see a house to believe that there's a house? Do you have to see a car to believe that there's a car? So it's like one of those things. Like, no, go ahead.
I would say that I don't think I have to see something to believe in something. I feel like something has to be demonstrated. The time to believe in something is once it's been demonstrated to you.
Mhm.
And I feel like things that cannot be demonstrated are a little tricky for me to believe in without some sort of personal experience. Whereas I would be very hesitant to argue with someone over their own personal experience. No, you didn't see that. No, you didn't experience that. It's hard to say that. I wouldn't say that. I would just say that. And you asked a great question earlier. You were like, well, do you believe in Bigfoot? Do you believe in I forgot your other examples, and my answer was no. But I'm sorry.
Here's my old consoles.
Yeah, if you just take them up there, give her some time.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to get out there in about a guy over here piling up. We're busy. Saturdays are one of our busy days. I do apologize. I do apologize, Jim, that this Saturdays are just one of our busiest days. But
work.
Yeah. But
I gotcha.
anyway, yeah, so I can give it about another 5 minutes and then I got to get out of here. But basically, yeah, like, again, you don't believe in demons or basically demonic things. So again, the question is, and you actually answer that, you don't have to see to believe it. You just know that they you in that case, you know they exist, but it's kind of, that question's always kind of hard to deal with.
It's up and down, left and right.
Yeah.
And
But-
well, like,
go ahead, Sterling.
go ahead. Well, it's just I want to be very clear. Like, I haven't seen COVID like under a microscope, but yeah, I've seen other people look at it. Yeah. So it's not that I don't believe in demons because I haven't seen one. I think that there are ways to prove things that without seeing them. And yeah, that was just an interesting topic for me.
Okay, cool. You know what?
And you know what? There are, again, and Jim.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Jim.
He asked if there were ways. There were ways of. Yeah, are there ways to test this theory? And I said there are multiple ways to test the theory of seeing a spirit. I said, but we don't advise it because it can cause a lot of problems for him. I said there's Ouija boards, tarot cards, crystals, whatever, any type of demonic game, you can basically test it out. But the problem is you're doing it at your own risk.
All right, boom. Let's say I'm crazy and I'll risk it.
On your own risk.
Sure. Let's say I'm crazy hypothetically and I'm willing to risk it and I have a Ouija board right here. Then what?
Then I wouldn't call you stupid. I would say you just did a really stupid thing because that is something you're messing with things you don't know about. And when you do that, you have a problem.
Okay. But here's my question.
Close it. There's something wrong.
I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
So if you open something and you can't close it, there's something wrong because you're opening up the spirit realm.
And I haven't done that. I'm not going to do that. This is hypothetical. My question is very specific. If I had a Ouija board right here and I opened it and I said there is no such thing as demons, there's no other realm, there's no such thing as spirits, but I have a Ouija board right here, what would I do? What would you tell me to do?
Well, again,
go ahead.
Again, we would advise against doing that because even though you haven't touched it and you're not playing with it, you're still finding a way to communicate and calling things out. That is a no in our realm, in our world. Because again, like Jim explained, you just opened up a door that says, come on in, and you're going to cause a problem. So again, you're not it's not that you're stupid. It's the fact that you just did a very stupid thing.
Well, I am stupid, and I want to put that on the table too. But here's what I want to jump in and say. Here's what I think would happen. I think that I'd get the Ouija board, I'd mess around with it, and it'd all be very vague. And it was like, oh well, hey, look, it didn't happen tonight. You didn't do it the right way, but try it again. And oh well, yes, you asked that demon to come into your life, but and it will, and bad things are going to happen. And if you catch the flu, that might be the start of it. That's because and it'll all be very vague, and there'll never be anything we can definitively point to say that whatever it is real. Does that make sense?
Yeah. But my question is, are you crazy enough to do it? Are you crazy enough to put?
Yes.
Okay, let me ask you this. Do you have a family?
Yes.
Okay, well, let me say this. Not only did you just open up something you can't close, and not only did you just put yourself at harm, but you basically just put your family at harm, because now it's not only going to come after you, it's going to come after them as well. And you're basically, what's going to happen is making a deal. It's like making a deal with the devil himself.
Sure. But how will we know that that's true? Because this whole thing started on a quest for the truth. So if they're coming after my family, how do I know it's a demon and not just shit happens?
Oh, trust me, you will know. I mean, there's no.
When something like that happens, it's not
like what?
Like
things you can't explain. Let's just break it down for him. Just break it down for him, so simple terms, so where he can understand. First of all, you're gonna have things happening that you can't terribly understand. Number two, your health is just gonna deteriorate.
Right.
I don't know what you're doing there. But your health is gonna go down. It's gonna be a plethora of things that's just gonna happen to you where you just can't understand, and you're gonna wonder why. Everything in your mind, you're gonna think, "Hey, everything's normal," but everything is not normal. Right. Everything there is a problem. You have a problem here. You know what I'm saying? Your house is gonna get dark. Your house is gonna get heavy. You can't sleep. You things are gonna happen. You can't lose. You're gonna lose your job. It all depends on the circumstances that you're in. Where things is going to happen if you do that.
Right.
There's no ifs and buts about it. History has determined that things like this will happen.
Sterling, let me explain it this way. Before you jumped on, we were talking, and we talked about one of our cases that me and Jim have personally been working on, and they've had so many problems. A chandelier that was held up, I can't think of the size bolts, but they're bolts that go through concrete, and they can hold. The chandelier was up there pretty good. Well, the one day their daughter was sitting at the kitchen table just doing her homework. What do you know? The chandelier just falls and almost killed her. So let me say this. If you wake up one day with your family and your child says, I got these scratches and I don't know how I got them, how do you explain that? What can I do for you?
Hey, how close is that mic to your face?
Very close.
Hey, I mean, I'll tell you what, Sterling.
Just tell anybody what to do, but do it.
I would not deal with the Ouija board. I'm not that crazy to even want to, be around a one like that. But that's a risk for your own. I mean, if you decide to do that, that's going to be you. But you know what? As for me, I would never do it. Even if even if I was able to open it and close it successful. But the problem is, from the time it's open until you time that you close it properly, dude, what can come through there? It's not going to go back. You know what I'm saying? You really have. And another thing, once you open up that door, and that door opens, and that big white light that's in that world, every demon, everything that's negative is going to see that light. It's going to rush towards it.
Yeah.
So you really got to be careful.
Patrick has to go.
Exactly. So I want to thank you again for having me. We'll be watching this later. Probably I could probably find it on Facebook later. But again, thank you for having me. I got to get back to work.
I'll link it to you.
Jim, I will talk to you later. Mr. Sterling, it was good seeing you.
Cheers.
Yep. Bye bye.
All right, Sterling. Any more questions?
Oh,
But
I could do this. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jim.
like I said, I told him earlier. Like I said, I was attacked twice and everything in my since I've been in this field and everything, and I still fight it. I've been fighting for what I was looking at finding since I was 12 years old because I had my first experience when I was 12 years old. I've been searching for it ever since. But then later down the road, like I said, I got attacked. I got attacked at a cemetery. I got attacked at a private residence and everything. And I'm still scared when I go out to investigate, but I can't let my guard down and everything when I go to these places and everything because I mean, the second time, this time knocked me to the ground. I didn't let the person see me. When I got knocked down, I just gathered myself real quick and went out of the house and real quick and stuff like that and everything. I mean, scared myself and everything, yeah. But like I said, I was out there gathering myself. I walked back in there and it tried to imitate me. It tried to harm me more and everything, but I would not let it do what it wants to do to me and everything because I have protection with me, but sometimes it doesn't always work.
Hey, Sterling, tell me what you think the afterlife is about.
I don't believe. I'm not convinced there is one.
So once you're dead, you're dead. There's no coming back. There's no, reincarnating. There's nothing of that. So once you're gone, you're gone. It's dark, and you just in limbo from there. So there's nothing.
I wouldn't make that
I
claim. I would just say that haven't seen evidence of anything afterwards, whether it's nothing or something or heaven or nothing, whatever what is or isn't. I don't know what it is or isn't, so I'm not convinced there is anything.
I actually saw the white light twice in my life. I actually died twice. Actually, I take it back 3 times. And everything.
Okay.
The one time I saw my dad and everything with my deceased son and everything, my dad looked at me as go back to Earth. It's not your time. And second time I saw him again, my dad says go back. And I mean, I know there's something there, but I can't explain how it is. But I mean, I saw it, but like I said, my dad told me go back. There's something here that needs to be for me to stay on Earth. I don't know. I just became a grandfather again the other day. I had my 4th
Congrats.
grandchild. Thank you. I had a little grandson and everything. Maybe this is why, because my kids came back, and I had my oldest daughter came back in my life after 16 years. My oldest son, he's over in Poland fighting for our country and everything. And I'm blessed that my kids are here, and now I'm here with them and everything, and celebrate my life with them and everything. Maybe that's why my dad told me there's something coming for you, and I don't know what it is, but you're gonna find out. Well, there it is. My kids are coming back in my life because their mothers didn't want nothing to do with them. Had nothing to do with them. Now my dad's probably pushing for it.
Right, Sterling. 2 questions for you. What mind-changing event that you had for you to disbelieve as heavy as you do now? What actually, and what happened in your life that done that? And 2, what does your family think about the way that you feel or how you feel?
Great questions, and thank you for showing interest in me and what I think. I really appreciate that. I didn't expect it, so thank you. There wasn't a life-changing event per se, except that I was able to get out of my parents' house, and I went to college, and I was able to question things. I remember when I was about 6 years old at my dinner table, there was 6 kids in my family. All 8 of us, well, including my parents, were around the dinner table, and we lived on a dirt road in the deep south. And I found out I had a Jewish friend, and I asked my dad, who was knew everything at that point. He was the expert on everything in my life. And I asked him, how did we know that our religion is right and that hers was wrong? I wanted to know. And he told me by questioning that it was blasphemy. And as a 6 year old, I asked what blasphemy was, and he described it to me, whether you agree or not, as an unforgivable sin. And the point is that right then and there, I realized that I wasn't free to question things. And so, to answer your question, once I moved out of my parents' house and I had that freedom to ask questions out loud and to myself and from others, I began to realize that I was indoctrinated more so than I chose that faith. It wasn't like my parents and everyone around me was Christian and I chose to be a Muslim. In which case you would say, well, that seems like the choice was yours. Let's talk about it. It wasn't mine. I was indoctrinated from birth. And once I realized that, I realized, well, okay, that doesn't mean it's not true. So do I have good reason? Do I know that it's true? And then I realized that I wasn't on solid ground like I thought I was. That was your first question. Then your second one, gosh, I'm sorry, I got lost.
How does your and what does your family think about your?
I was angry at my parents for a long time. I was very angry about the whole situation. I was angry for being misled. I was angry for putting my faith in my parents and believing what that they believed and what they told me, and I was angry. My parents know that I'm an atheist. We still say grace before we eat at the dinner table. We They still send me Christmas cards, and my mom tells me that occasionally that she wants me to find a nice Christian girl. But they know that I'm an atheist. They know I don't believe it, and it's accepted. I don't know. It's accepted at this point. We don't talk about it per se. I don't go to church, but they don't necessarily press me to go to church. Hope that answers your question.
Okay. What religion were you growing up? Were you
Southern
Christian?
Baptist.
Southern Baptist. Oh, and what part of the South you were from?
South Carolina.
Oh shit! Yeah,
Yeah.
can't get southern than that, man.
I never heard, I never heard my parents curse. I never saw my parents drink. I never saw my parents dance. I never heard them raise their voice at each other, and it was almost a strange type of Pleasantville, weird, kind of false reality that I grew up in, and we don't have enough time.
What little town you grew up in?
I'd rather not say.
Yeah, it wasn't Baskersville, South Carolina, was it?
No, say that again. I don't even know if I've heard of that. Say it again.
Baskersville, South Carolina.
Was it Bakersville? No, I've never heard of that town.
B A
But there's,
S K R V I L L E.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's a small little town in South Carolina.
There's a lot. There's a lot, I guess.
A lot of history in that town. A lot of stuff going on. Hey, yeah, dude. I mean, is that the reason why you have that bottle in your hand, or you just felt like drinking tonight?
Is what the reason? Sorry.
Having this discussion.
No, this discussion doesn't have anything to do with this. I'm just turning up on the weekend.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, hell.
Hope you don't mind.
No, hell no. I was thinking about doing it.
Yeah, I don't really. Yeah, I'm just cutting loose.
And you know what? And I can sympathize on some of the things that you talked about your parents, because my grandmother was the same way, Southern Baptist. Man, you probably know about this. They were in the church more than they were anywhere else. Monday night Bible study, Tuesday night Bible study, Wednesday night they got something else going on, and so on and so on. But you know what? You're right. They didn't drink. They didn't cut. Well, my grandmother cussed up a storm. You know, Southern people were different, but she cussed up a storm. But you know what? She didn't go out, and she was heavily, like you said, heavily in the church. But she is the reason why I am the man that I am today. She's the reason why I am a paranormal investigator because the things that she's experienced, as a grandmother that raised you what 22 some odd grandchildren,
Mm,
10
mm,
grandchildren. I mean 10 kids of her own. So the stuff that she told me, the stuff that she's experienced. I'm like, wow. How tell me how can this 4'2", 200-pound woman, 200 pounds in the butt, be wrong for what the stuff that she tells me. You know, I mean they have no reason to lie or try to scare you. They just want to tell you, the stuff that they're experienced in their life. And as me growing up and me being grown, and I sit back and think about some of the things that she's told me, and
mm,
and some of the things I've seen today, while I'm investigating. And you know what? And I can honestly say, man, there's some shit out there, and it's up to us to figure out what the hell is going on with it. If just do research on it and just figure out what the hell is going on. You know, I'm not saying that we can solve it because we can't, because death is another part of life. And, but it's just something that I think, you know what? I think everybody on this planet has experienced some kind of, you know, something that they can't explain, some kind of paranormal stuff. They really don't think about it at the time, but the minute it's like, hey, that really happened. But you didn't really think about it until you actually, as you're older and you thought, you're like, well, damn, did that just happen when I was growing up? And
mhm,
yes, it did. You know, Another thing, how do you explain mediums? How do you explain people that have that twinkle? That twinkle twitch. I'm not saying that they're witches or anything, but you got mediums. I mean, you got
mhm.
witches, and you just got people that have that special gift that can just see things and that we can't, and they try to explain it, to their best of their knowledge. But the best way for them to only explain it is for you to see it yourself.
I hope I can respond to that. And Jim, I feel like we're leaving you out of the conversation, and I don't want to do
You're
that.
fine. You're fine.
Okay, thank you for your patience, and I want to ask you questions too. But
Hmm.
she, but there's statements right there. I want to ask both of you. Have you ever heard of the amazing Randy? Randi, I believe it is Randy.
I don't think I
James
have. No.
Randy.
I can't
James
say.
No.
James Randy has passed recently, and he was a magician, the amazing Randy, and he he was amazing. He could do really good tricks, sleight of hand, that sort of thing. But what he really hated, what really grinded his gears, was some of these magicians who were like trying to like make it seem like they were tapping into this other dimension. So what he did was he kind of started snitching on him, and he was like, "Here's how he does that trick." You know, kind of like it pissed him off that people tried to like be high and mighty. You know what I mean? So he kind of took it on himself to be like he targeted a couple of famous magicians in the '80s, and anyway, he was like, "This is how he does that trick, and I can do it too. You're not. You don't have to." He's not. And then that developed into $1 million challenge. And the $1 million challenge from James Randi and the Randi Foundation was to that if anyone could prove the supernatural or paranormal, specifically psychics. He liked to look into the psychic ability type thing, mediums, as the host was asking me about. How do I explain it? It's fraudulent. I don't explain it. I don't believe it is real because it's never been demonstrated. And out of all the people who signed up for the $1 million challenge, do you know how many checks were awarded? Zero. No one could demonstrate the ability of being a medium or a psychic or any of that.
Hmm.
And it,
Interesting.
And it's on YouTube. You can just look it up.
Okay. No, I have not heard of him. I'm gonna have to look him up to see what's going on with him. He sounds like an interesting guy, but you know, it's kind of crazy. Let me ask you a question, Sterling. Will you ever be in the Texas area? Or are you ever planning on coming to Texas?
No, I've never been, and I have a friend out there in Dallas who keeps asking me to come out, but I don't have any plans. Although I'm going to look at RVs and campers next week, so I have some traveling in the future.
Because I'm gonna tell you now, brother, and don't take this to no offense, but there's shit out here that would turn you white.
It would do what? You broke up? Turn shit
There
that
are
would what?
going on out here that would turn you white.
Turn me white?
Uh-huh. Because I
Um,
things out here, man. I'm telling you now, I cannot explain. You know, and
I
I've
have
seen,
family in Texas.
and dude, and I'm telling you, there are things in this world, and you know that uh, you people just can't understand. You know, explain. You know, and
like what? Like what?
like what?
Give me one example.
Okay, one example is, you know, life and death experiences.
I can
You
explain
know,
that.
okay, so explain that to me.
Well, it's much like a dream state, like when you're dreaming or when you're in a light, like when you see the light inside your brain, you're releasing chemicals like DMT, dimethyltryptophan, and what that does is it's the same chemical that releases when you're dreaming, and it enhances and it causes that dreamlike state to where you're kind of awake, not really awake. You're having thoughts, they're not exactly coherent. And I think that the human mind is so powerful that in a dreamlike state or a life and death experience, someone could see what they want to see, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. And if we certainly wouldn't take the advice of a person on their deathbed, a person who's actively dying, and I think we should probably apply that to their experiences. Not to say that their experiences weren't real. Jim gave a couple of examples. I'm not saying he didn't experience that. What I'm saying is that should we trust the mind of a person who is that close to death? Because clearly, if they're that close to death, they're unwell and not in necessarily a state of rational thinking. That's the way I think about it, with all respect.
Hmm. You know, hey, you know, yes and no. I mean, that can go either way. That can go either way. But
Everybody's dropping me this week. What the heck?
all right, guys, I am trying to get this right here. So bear with me for a moment.
Now,
You
yeah,
got it.
take your time. I got a question for Jim. Jim,
Go ahead.
obviously you're a believer, and let's just pick one thing specifically, and I'm going to hold your feet to the fire. You're a believer in demons, correct? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Would you say, and I don't want to put words or numbers in your mouth, but on a scale of 0 to 100%, like how sure are you that demons are real? Give me a number.
I would say about 40%. I would say I believe they're there. So it's pretty high because I've actually experienced, you know, some demons and everything because they came to me and I tried to block them away from me and everything because, like I was telling you guys about my first experience when I was 12 years old.
Hmm.
I was at this camp and stuff like that. I experienced something on this door. It says, "Hi, guys." So as a kid, I wanted to, document everything, everything you see, what's this, what's that. So I took a picture of it, and there was a white mist on the doors, and the guys was covered up, and it was just high. Well, when I got home from that camp, I had a dream about that camp up there and everything, of this demon that came in my dream and everything, and told me that whatever I did to him and everything, I called him an SOB. And as soon as I called him an SOB, he says, "I'll be back." I haven't experienced it since and everything, but I believe it was a demon trying to get through me, trying to scare the whatever out of me and everything. Yeah, I'm young, you know. Maybe it's just a nightmare because I'm, young, but I don't know. But I will not go. I went to the campsite a few, let's see, I think it was last summer or summer before I went back to the campsite. My wife and I went up there and everything. I won't go near the cabin where this demon's supposed to be, roaming around. But I'll go near the one, but I won't go near that one because I was telling myself I have a funny feeling if I do go up there that something's going to happen to me that I don't know how to explain, like, or something maybe possess me or something, but I don't want that to happen. So I, stay clear. I know my boundaries. So, but I believe there is demons out there. I mean, like on TV, on some of these TV shows with, I hate to say it, but Zach Bagans, not one guy I can't stand. Okay, because he's always getting possessed and everything and stuff like that. I can't stand the guy, because he's always criticizing this. He's always doing something, but I believe there is, but I don't see how this guy is still alive with how many times he's been possessed like he says he has. But I believe there is demons out there in this world lurking around us, but they're just waiting to jump on the weak prey. Yeah.
There's two of you in the. Okay, maybe this is better.
There we go.
All right, hey guys, hey Sterling, let me ask you a question. Now, for what we've been doing as paranormal investigators, people have been doing for thousands of years. Okay, now it might have been a little bit, the names might have been different, but what the Catholic Church has been doing for thousands of years, they've sent people out like me and this gentleman at the bottom, sent us out to discover, to understand on something that the Catholic Church, just somebody has claimed. So they'll send us out, which is what? Investigators. So they'll come back and investigate, they'll go out and investigate it, and they will return to the Catholic Church and tell the Catholic Church on what is going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So apparently something is something is at afoot because the church is, the Catholic Church has been doing this for thousands of years. You know what I'm saying? So
I think if I could repeat it back to you to make sure I understand. What you're what I think you're saying is because the Catholic Church has been sending people like us out there to investigate the paranormal, even though they still haven't proven it after thousands of years, they're still sending people out there. So therefore, the paranormal must be real, even though with all the researchers over thousands of years, they haven't really proven that, to my liking at least. So I would push back and say that, hey, look, just because they're investigating things and just because they may want to know about things doesn't necessarily prove to me that it's real. I'm not sure if it proves to you that it's real.
well, good answer, but the Catholic Church is only going to let you know what they want you to know. Now, there's been documented history of unbelievable things that been going on. Catholic priests have come out of their shell to talk about it, and the first thing they say is the Catholic Church will cover this up. So for people, everyday people, to say that the Catholic Church have not found anything, I think that's a false claim.
To say that the Catholic Church hasn't found anything?
Yeah.
No, and to be fair, I'm not one of those people who haven't made that claim.
Well, I'm just saying,
But what I'm saying is, if they have found something, they haven't released it. I haven't heard about it in a way that's convincing to me. So I'm not saying they haven't discovered some things that I don't know about, but I'm just saying, if you were to Catholic faith and you had evidence for any part of that Bible, that holy book, that faith, that religion, that God, that demon, that devil, that hell, that heaven, you would release it because it adds credence to all the other parts of the Bible. So if what you're saying is, hey, the Catholic faith has been putting us out there, investigating it, and they might know. Don't say that they don't know, because they probably do. Even though they haven't released it, they have their reasons and they like to keep it hush hush. To me, that doesn't make logical sense, because if they're sending people out there, it's so that they can have the knowledge to show everyone that the Catholic faith was real and that the Bible was real, the God of 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 the Israelites was real, and so forth and so on.
Well, I might disagree with you on that, for the simple fact is, let's just say, if for every time that something was discovered, do you think every time that something is discovered is good for the world?
The question now, I'm sorry, this is kind of vague. Is I would say yes, it is.
So you saying that everything that
Mm-hmm.
that comes out,
Yes.
government, the government, the Catholic Church, everything that they discover, you think
Yeah.
it should be shared with the world?
I think it should be shared with the world.
Okay.
Yes.
What kind of world would we have today if they actually did that?
We'd have one where all the facts are on the table, as opposed to no backdoor meetings and secrets and private clubs and good old boy networks. We would have the truth.
Okay, but you also will have madness. You also will have chaos.
How you know that?
I guarantee you would have all of those things that.
We already have those things.
True enough, but you have that now.
Yeah.
Just say you don't have them under those particular circumstances.
What circumstances are we talking about? What is the truth that came to light? These are all very big things and topics, and I'm interested in them, but we'd really have to dig deeply into it, if that makes sense.
Okay. Let's say it like this. Bam. All of a sudden, man, hey, we have UFOs. Catholic Church discovered we got UFOs. Okay. The aliens. Whoa. Okay, hold on now. The aliens just said, hey, there's no God. I'm your God. I'm your creator. Then what? Mm-hmm. Do you know how uproar this world would be because of that? How religions will fall, nations will fall.
Oh no!
You have to realize that some nations are built on religion. And if a little green man was to come on the lawn and say, "Hey, I am your creator. I am the one that made you who you are, and you just just like evolution, we just set you down a little seed and you just evolved. But we're the ones that started that. So now, wouldn't the world be a little bit off because of that?
Well, maybe it would be shook. It would definitely be shook. And a lot of people would have to change the way they think about things. And I feel like those who want to believe in something, even after that, could possibly believe it. Now, what you'd have to be very careful about was the little green man in your example. Did he just come down and say it and then dip out, or did he demonstrate it?
No, he's always been here.
What now?
Always been here.
How's it going, guys?
What's going on, man?
Dude, I gotta say something about the paranormal, just as an introductory. Yeah, I've been living with it my whole life, and I'm telling you right now, they call like certain people schizophrenic. but they're really incredibly spiritually sensitive to the spiritual expression, things like that. Every night before I close when I close my eyes, actually, I see, and the demons. It's not demons. It's a seal. It's a beacon of a demon. So what I believe Saturnus is another word for Satan in Latin, and that comes from Saturn. Now, and you look at Jupiter. Jupiter is another name for Almighty God, the king of gods named Zeus. So maybe Saturn is hell and Jupiter is heaven,
Ooh, wait, now. You just do
So watch unload, I know.
Yeah, right.
That's a mind fuck.
Hey, I'm speechless now. When I don't know what to say. I've never heard of that. That particular saying before, but
But think about it. Why does NASA always cover it up but never show us the real pictures? And only artists' renditions, you know what I mean?
Right.
Why do you think?
I think because they know more of the truth than they want us to know because they don't think we can handle it.
exactly.
What truth do they know? Do you know?
Like the same reason why they named Mars, that planet Mars. Mars was a Roman god stolen from the Greeks, which was Ares, which is the god of war. And if anything doesn't look like more of a war-torn planet than Mars, I don't know what does it, And they say there's dry riverbeds and monuments on there and all kinds of stuff, man. That's got to make you think,
What type of monuments are there on Mars?
The pyramids of Mars. You have. I had a leak I caught, but it was on my old Facebook, and I haven't been able to get into it. But they call it the city of Sidonia, the face of Mars. Remember that, the face of Mars?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you got the Anunnaki, or they have long-skulled, who are black people, basically, from Egypt, with long skulls, elongated skulls, showing like maybe possibly some form of evolution or some form of alien, they came from someplace, on actual megalithic structures that can support a rocket ship launching and not even be budged. So there's that for you too,
Is there any other explanations, biologically or physically, that we know of that could explain the elongated skull phenomenon?
No, but they find them all over. If you look through the fossils, everything.
well,
So
They find these weird humans. Yeah.
So there's. Go ahead, host. Sorry.
He knows.
there are some countries in Africa that still practice that.
Mm-hmm.
They still put that wrap on their heads as
Mhm.
you actually still practice that
That
yes.
that's what I was getting at. With all due respect to the medium here, are you familiar with the head wrapping technique that led to elongated skulls that you can reproduce biologically without any sort of paranormal?
It's to hide it so they don't get Frankenstein with pitchforks and torches. That's basically it, in a nutshell. Because if other humans see somebody, right, and then you see someone, you don't explain. Humans like to destroy things they can't explain.
No,
that's just
no.
Yeah.
Here's my question. Is it possible to recreate these elongated skulls the way that you've seen them, the way that you've heard about them, biologically and naturally, as opposed to some sort of Anunnaki hybrid offspring? Is there any way
I know what you're talking about. You're talking about wood stents. Wood stents, when they said that they could actually take apart. But what you have to understand, they would take a part of the brain, and this was Egyptians, and they could take it and they would break it and they would put kind of like a cast, and the bone would heal over. And it might be possible because the brain will seek out oxygen and it will keep growing.
Now,
yes, so that's not impossible, but I don't think it could be done in a very short amount of time.
Now, Now, the way the Africans do it today, which I'm pretty sure they've been doing it for thousands of years, is they would from birth they would wrap the child's head, elongated it, and leave that wrap on there till the head actually takes form.
Yeah.
And and the process is done repeatedly until the head is actually shaped like the way they want it to be.
But the big question is, does the brain automatically try to fill that space? And you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't
No.
know if the brain is
What if it did though?
question.
That would be a form of biotechnological evolution.
What's the
I got a question. I got a question here. Are we still on the topic? Are we saying that humans are technically making aliens out of other humans? Is that what we're talking about here? Because
No.
No, it's a two different topics, but at the same time. So if they're not alien, how were they created? If they aren't alien, if some ingenuity, human wise, was at credit, you know.
right. Because like I was saying before, I was still watching, and all I heard and what caught my attention was you mentioned something about a little green man. If he was on Earth or something like that, and he was already here,
Zeta Reticuli,
that
yeah.
That kind of blew my mind because again, if and like I made the statement before, if you believe in Bigfoot and you believe in aliens, which are still technically a sign or a type of paranormal activity, you still believe in some sort of paranormal creatures. Either way, you're still believing those type of creatures anyway. So why wouldn't you? True, and also, yeah, you're right. It depends on
the comment.
Yeah.
Who are you talking to me?
And this doesn't work it. Whatever, you know.
The other thing that caught my attention was I was going through the comments and somebody said that Zach Bagans has a lot, like he opens himself. I understand that. Let me see. I don't know if you can go back to the comments. If you can find out, it was by the Memphis Ghost Hunters stated that Zach Bagans has opened himself. That's another issue that I don't think I've personally seen, or Jim, you have personally seen somebody willingly opening themselves to possession. The problem is, and I also heard the comment that
I've had a demon come into my body willingly, knowing that I had enough willpower to get it out. We had an agreement, and from what I know about what I call Saturnians, or what other people call demons, they don't actually have to sleep. Their species doesn't have to sleep. So you can just basically kind of, if you're under a spiritual attack and you happen to have, you know, a good respect rapport with, you know, a very powerful leader of the demons, and he sends you that and when I try to tell people this, and this really upsets me about Christians, two comes with the package. You don't get to choose one or the other. God and Satan come with the freaking package. You know what I mean? And I don't call
hold on,
Satan by his name. I say, yeah.
I'm not trying to be rude. I don't want to cut you off, but from my Christian background, I to a point you're correct. The Christianity package comes with both, but God also states you have one master. You serve one or the other. You can't serve both.
But that was 2,000 years ago.
A lot of people do try to.
You don't think God has changed his mind? I mean, even if he was a human and he lived 2,000 years ago, things had to have changed. And that considerably is more powerful than a human means things change in his mind way more drastically than in ours.
Right. And you know what? You are right. God does change his mind. And it happens a lot often than normal, but or not
Yeah.
the normal, but God does change his mind. He's just like everybody else. We all change our minds. I'm not saying that he doesn't change his mind or he can't change his mind. That's why there's miracles today, because he
Yeah.
changes his mind on a lot of things. He's the one that makes choices. He's the one that makes choices in our to a point in our lives. He's the one that chooses death.
No,
He's
he's
the
the
one that
one
chooses life.
that gives you the advice to make the right choices. Not
Right.
exactly. Yeah.
But he also, like I said, he also gives the right of
Yeah.
choosing life or death.
Well,
and
for me,
a
like
lot of people
for
say,
yeah, but for me personally, it's been the devil and God kind of seeing that it's so chaotic, and then me identifying that even there's even order in hell compared to this earth now, how we see it, and that even the devil isn't respecting the way things are going. So even the devil's like, you know what? And maybe the book hasn't been written where the devil redeems himself. You know what I mean? Maybe that's a book that needs to be written, because Jesus
well,
came
see,
down on this earth. He didn't come down on this earth to save souls. He came down on this
no,
earth to turn it into heaven. I guarantee you it. And look what we did to him for it.
and he knows, and you know what, and he, that's where God's like, no, you can't do this. I'm not going to allow you to do this. You can't be me. There's no way you're going to be me. I'm the only God that, and a Christian standpoint, he basically states, I'm the only God there will be. And that's where I come from. And I believe that so heartedly that he did. And that's why he's down where he is now. He has control
Galileo
over
and the Tower and the Sea of Galilee, and why they locked this brilliant mad scientist up in a tower, staring through a telescope, collecting all his information. Then there's another story about another brilliant man, and he was always totally terrified of women. Probably a closet case back like thousands of years ago, but now he would probably have more freedom. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot out there,
that's
man.
the other
If you
thing.
look at it,
Right.
Legion, the first schizophrenic in the Bible, is in the Bible.
Yep.
Legion, a schizophrenic, is in the Bible that Jesus
you're
healed.
right.
Yeah.
No, you're right. And see, and the thing is, and I think I know where you're going with this. I could be wrong, so don't quote me. I think you're. I don't. I could be wrong, but there was a guy. It's a biblical story. There was a man that was possessed by a demon, and he says, "My name is Legion."
Yeah.
And and Jesus goes up to him and says, "Get out of him!" And what's he do? He throws him into
For
a
we are
swine of
many.
pigs.
Yeah.
And right.
And they turn
And
into
what
pigs,
happened? Those
swine.
pigs-
But you know what's funny about swine? You know what's funny about pigs? Why is it we try to closely resemble ourselves to chimpanzees, but in all actual reality, the closest resemblance to our own heart, that we could actually heart transplant a pig's heart into our own bodies and live for about 10 or so years with it? What is that, man? That defies explanation, right, to me.
Right. But when it comes to the dark world, my main point is there are demons that roam the earth that Satan has released that says, okay,
of course.
I want you to.
They're beacons,
I want
man. They're beacons.
Right. I want you to try to destroy this guy's life, or I want you to try to destroy this woman's life, or I even want you to destroy this child's life. But there's times
the way you know how, like, I mean, you have, like, let's just say a symbol, right? Like but it can record, it can hear from you. This is what a beacon is. This is what those faces are. They're nothing to be alarmed at. But what needs to be alarmed at is the people speaking for them that are not them. And you need to know the difference. And the only way you're going to know that difference is if you have the gift of discernment of spirits. You have to be able to discern the spirits. You have to know the dead from the demons, the Jews from the demons. There's all different types of stuff that goes on in that area. and it gets
and you know what?
crazy.
And that's where possession. That's where possession comes. Exactly
Yeah.
what possession is. And I tell a lot of our victims, me and Jim's victims, we say, listen, these are signs you have to look out for, because, and it's not just in movies. A
Yeah,
lot
if
of
you
people
lose
say,
your
well,
mind, they're going to take it over. They're going to take it over.
Right. And people say, well, you just get this information from movies. No, that's not true. I don't ever base my cases or me and Jim's cases or our team's cases off of movies,
Yeah.
because those are just CGI. That's just makeup. That's just, like take The Exorcist, for instance. That's
Yeah.
crap that
Do
she
you
was
guys ever
vomiting up
want to
is
go
just
to an
PC.
abandoned mental hospital? I know one near my area. You can get on the
well, guess
Mohegan
what? We got
Sun.
one.
Yeah, man. No. Where are you guys from?
We got one. We got one in Pennsylvania as well. It's called
Pennsylvania.
Penhurst.
But
Yeah,
this shit started
Penhurst.
on Ellis Island, went to Danvers and went other places. And that came from Oxford. Oxford, the Handbook of Psychology, all that. That was big in there. And Napoleon, around when Napoleon was around, they still had mental hospitals. It was around the 1600s, I believe. But
Right.
they were basically to silence their political opponents. Look what I got.
Right.
I got
is,
food snacks for everyone.
Well,
I only took half of one,
anyway,
so I'll be all right.
No, but let me put it this way. Look, I want our viewers. I want the viewers that are watching this, if there are any watching this, I want them to understand that there are certain signs to knowing. There are certain signs to know when there's a possession going on, and one of the, and a couple of them are, your spouse or whoever you're related to or whoever it happens to, they'll do weird things they normally don't do, which includes, speaking in a different language they normally would not know, or speaking into
a made up language.
Right.
Like if they
Speaking
started
tongues, what have you?
Excuse me. If they started speaking Cantonese, I'd be impressed and think something was there. But what they do is
it's actually, believe it or not, it's actually Latin.
If they started speaking in Cantonese, I would be like, we got to nuke China. Something wrong is going on here.
So, hold on. Excuse me. So you said they started speaking in Latin?
I've had cases where, actually most of my cases personally, a lot of them were basically speaking in Latin.
How do you know?
Do you know Latin?
I do not, but I could tell you this.
How do you know?
Because let me tell you,
Spiritus Sanctum.
It's actually Latin or Pig Latin. One of the devils.
Spiritus Sanctum.
Right. The devils. One of the devils.
Sanctuary of the spirits.
Right. One of the most devil's famous language. Hold on. One of the most famous languages that the devil likes to use in that possession. Just one of the most common languages that is used.
Devil's not evil. Like, he has a job. That's basically it.
But so a lot of the
put
cases
in that position,
So right, but a lot of the cases that I've worked, it's mostly Latin or Pig Latin.
If you don't speak Latin,
but if the devil has a wife, every man's got to watch out.
Well, you know what?
You two are speaking over each other. My question is, if you don't speak Latin, how do you know this person who's allegedly possessed is also speaking Latin?
If I told you, you wouldn't believe me for a minute. If I told you how I know,
but
you don't know, because if
let
you
it
don't
free,
speak
brother.
Jim. See, here's the thing. Jim's team has something no other team will ever have, unless and so if I told you how I knew they were speaking Latin, you wouldn't believe me for a minute.
Well, then it must be hogwash.
No, it's not hogwash.
Dog shit.
Well, then tell me.
If I told you, you wouldn't believe me for a minute.
Then it must be hogwash.
We're not gonna judge you, man.
It must be hogwash. You must be talking out the side of your neck.
Speak the truth or forever hold your peace.
Okay. I'm not necessarily human. I have. Hold on. See, hold on. This is where you're getting ahead of yourself. Hold on.
I'm listening.
Jim can technically verify this very easily. I'm not human, but that doesn't make me alien. That doesn't make me Bigfoot. That doesn't make me anything from the dark world. I'm basically saying that I wasn't necessarily born, I was created by God, which makes me one of his angels. So I know everything that has things to do with the dark world. I know what the dark world's like. Even as my human self, I have been to the dark world. And I could explain that very easily on you. And you're probably wondering, well, how are you in the dark world? Well, let me explain. With the amount of child abuse that I've went through as a child, it takes you to places
So am I.
no human should ever be in. If any normal human child would not have stayed with their abusive own biological mother to deal with the amount of pain and suffering that they went through.
Denial.
No,
Yep. No.
no human can handle
I
that.
had a mother do the same thing. She denied me my father's rights to be a part of his family.
You
And
know
that's
what? My
something I
mother
still
did.
hold a grudge to her.
My mother did
It's
the
a
same
very
thing with
powerful
my
thing.
father.
And my stepmother molested me. That was her thing. Made me a freak, whatever the fuck, I don't care.
Yeah.
But it drove me to be the kind of person I am, to fight for the truth at
So
all
let me tell you
times.
something, Sterling. Sterling, let me tell you something. Okay, as skeptical as I know you are, and I could feel that you are very skeptical about what I just told you, which is fine. You know what I mean? Because I tell a lot of, and that's why I don't tell a lot of people unless it's necessary. That's why I know so much about the dark world than Jim does. That's why I know so much about what Satan can do. That's why I know so much what demons can do. And people think, well, then why aren't you fighting them off? Oh, we are. And what I mean by we, there's more of us here on earth that know how to handle things like this. This is why I said
Yeah.
Jim's team has something no other
We've
team
been
has.
chosen to put this goddamn earth back in order, man.
Hey,
And
guys.
that's why I said I'm not just here to physically protect somebody. I am very comforting. Can I be judgmental? Of course, to a point, because I'm not the actual judge. God is the judge over all life. Okay? I'm there when there's situations that need to be handled. Jim, I want to bring up previously what happened with Destiny, if that's okay with you.
I mean, I think, like, I don't want to speak for anybody else who runs anything like this, but if I were to, I think we need to go back to the simple paranormal stuff instead of the we're too fucking high to talk about that shit bullshit.
Okay.
Because in about 15 minutes from now, when this fucking acid kicks in, I'm going to be talking to you about alien gods and aliens, and dude, this shit will get real.
Yeah, we don't want that.
No, you want that, dude. What do you mean you
No.
don't want that? It's open-mindedness.
But we
Do you think we're the only ones alone in this universe, dude? How selfish.
No.
Selfish. Selfish.
Hey, we kind of
No, but
You gotta time
fucking
out.
true,
Blow the
man.
whistle. Blow the whistle.
Yeah. All right.
we kind of strayed off course on the subject. You know, we went from paranormal to non-believers to Anunnaki to gods,
right.
Stick to the ghosty shit. Yeah.
Hey, let's kind of focus.
That's smart. Yeah, man.
Yeah, and that's why I kind of had to jump in there, because there were topics about aliens and things that I'm very skeptical
No,
about.
I didn't mean to get off track or anything. But let me try to put it on track. I had an experience one night. Hear me out. I was laying on my bed and I had the worst nightmare I ever had. I dreamt that I was in hell. And then when I woke up, I opened my eyes and I looked at my wooden door. And this is my wooden door. Well, I mean, you can kind of see it, and I saw a specter, like a ghostly figure, all in white, but transparent at the same time, walking right through the door, dude. I shit you not.
Yeah. All right. I'm sorry. I have to go again because we're starting to get some customers up here. So I don't want to interrupt them, but I will have to let you go again. I do apologize. Again, thank you. And I'll.
Gotta love you, Pat.
Guys, hey, we kind of strayed off course there.
Take it back. Take back the reins, host. Take back the reins.
let's get back to
The
the
One
topic.
Ring to rule them all.
Let's get back to the topic at hand.
Yeah, the paranormal shit. Yeah.
The belief and the non-belief of paranormal activity, and the belief and the non-belief, all the BS that's going on in this world.
Mhm.
You know what? To be honest with you, Sterling, I've met a couple people like you
Mm.
that are unbelievers that have yet to believe,
Yeah.
and you know,
On but not non.
and the only thing I can tell them is, you give me 10 minutes, I can change your life if you was here with me.
Let's
I
go.
mean, that's
Start the
all.
clock.
I mean,
Start the clock.
because
Open your mind, man.
because
It's
Sterling,
The
open.
worst thing you're gonna do is learn something.
because
It's
Sterling,
open.
because
True.
without you, I would not weigh how this world would be. This world would be yes, yes, yes. Instead of having that one, skeptic out there who goes out and just, wants to, you know, see evidence, and just want to, look and say, hey, well, is this, and I respect that,
Thank you.
because if there was,
Let me show you guys on my Bluetooth.
because if there were, a lot of people out there that believe, can you imagine what this world would be right now?
Yes. Yes.
It would be horrible, so
Yes.
respect what you do, and I respect what you believe, you know,
Thank
uh,
you.
and that's the way it is, and that's the way the world should be. You got your
Yeah.
believers, you got your non-believers. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And bottom line, there's nothing we can do about it. You know what I'm saying? And it was meant
Yeah.
to be like that.
It was what like that? Meant to be.
It was just meant to be. You know what I'm saying? The way your life came to be, God probably wanted it to be like that.
Okay.
Who's to say? But the thing is, hey, I would love
That's
to
good. I
have
like that.
hey, I would love to have you on my team, because you will probably go out and debunk every little thing that I would present to you. In which,
You
hey,
want that?
huh?
You would like that?
Yeah, a skeptic is a good,
Why?
because a skeptic is a good. It makes me an honest man, because I
How
don't want
so?
to put because I don't want to put no evidence out there that is false. So if I would say, hey, Sterling, I'm going to present this to
Mhm.
you, you break it down any which way that you can, and you present that evidence back to me. That's
Mhm.
what I want to put nothing false out. And that is
Mm.
good. You know what I'm saying?
It's
'Cause-
good. Let me make sure I understand you. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it's good to have someone who pushes you and checks you, and maybe even if they're just being devil's advocate, so to speak, that's healthy because it makes you check yourself.
exactly. That's good.
Okay.
That is really
Okay.
good. Okay, let me break this down for you. If I was to go right now and investigate, and I was to have some kind of evidence that people was like, man, that is the great evidence I've ever seen.
I'm listening. Go ahead.
And I'm like, okay, well, you know what? I am gonna take this to the scientists, and I'm just gonna see what exactly do they think. But before I do that, before I actually make a jackass of myself,
Hmm.
I'm gonna send it to you to let me to let me, so you can let me know what exactly you think. And I say,
Yeah.
Sterling, run through it, because I'm
I'd
about
crush it.
to this. I'm
I'd dismantle it, and I would break every spoke in that wheel one
and
by one.
and that would be perfect, because that's what I want you to do.
That's what you want?
Now, if I got a legitimate something legitimate going on, and I actually have something legitimate, and I would say, hey, I think this shit here is legit,
Right.
and you can't break it down. You have no words that can come out of your mouth right now, because you was like, man, I'm speechless. I have nothing to say. I think this shit is real, and that is what the world needs. You know what I'm saying?
I
Somebody who
think so.
somebody who can actually break shit down analyze it and make sure that it's the truth, because you don't want no fake shit out there.
I, I personally don't, but I'm not convinced everyone else does, and I'm not convinced. Like for me, I value truth above all else, and I want to know as many true things as possible. And if I have something in here that's not true, but I believe that it is, I need to get it out. It's a
Exactly.
weed. It's a weed in my garden. I need to yank it by the
And you
bottom. You
and you
know.
and that's why every paranormal team should have a debunker on their team, so they can, because every debunker feels the same way that you do.
Okay. And what is it? How do I feel? Tell me. They feel like what exactly?
Well, hold on for a minute. I got
Okay. Throw me on when ready.
let's get rid of that. Oh, he's back in. Okay.
What's
All
up,
right.
guys? So keep
So
on going. I was enjoying the conversation. No,
every
keep it going.
I think that every paranormal team should have somebody like you. I call them debunkers.
Yeah, like a sensitive. Yeah, an empath, or
No,
yeah.
no, sensitive, not an
I
impact.
have one on mine, so I have one on mine group. So
And you know what? And we need people like you, for the simple fact is we don't want to look like jackasses when we present this to the damn public.
Well,
You know what
hang
I'm
Yeah,
on.
saying?
yeah.
Well, hang on.
And
Well, hang on. So let's put it to the test. Tell me, host, something you believe that I can debunk right now, and yet you'll be happy about the fact that I picked the shreds. Do you want to
Well,
try that, or
that's
do you want to
business.
try that, or no?
I'm gonna throw something simple. Hey, I believe the sun is green.
You believe the sun
Yeah,
is
something simple.
green?
The sun is green.
Okay.
Now,
Well,
before
go.
before I go and present this to the public, I need for you to break that down for me, so I won't look like a jackass. So I won't
Sure.
need. So I won't need. So I won't look like a jackass when I'm on the fucking news.
But just to
They said
clarify,
the sun is green. What's
with
your debate against that? Come on, man.
but just to clarify to the host, you don't actually believe the sun is green.
No, 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 no.
No, he
This is
does. He
But
does. He
I
does. He
but
does.
did I
but
put
man,
that
For
I could do
argument's sake. For argument's sake. Yeah.
just for
for
argument.
for argument's sake, I could take that. I'd rather have one that you actually believe, but I will take that one because you threw it out there. What I would say to
Shit,
you is
you guys
that
know each other well.
we just met about we just met like 30 minutes
That's cool.
ago.
That's cool. It's all
What
right. That was good meeting you, friends.
all right.
what I would say to you is that show me a picture of this sun that you're referring to.
I
Put it
showed
on
you.
the screen.
I showed you.
Okay, I just screenshotted it. Okay. Oh,
Don't
hold
make me
on.
slap two buttons.
Excuse me, Mr. Medium. I
Sorry.
screenshot. No, you're fine. I screenshotted it and I would just send it to my printer. It just printed. Thank you. Bring it over here. Oh wow. Yeah, that showed up really well. You know what? I would. Is that green? No.
Technocracy, not
Excuse me, sir.
spiritocracy there.
Excuse me, Mr. Medium. I have it here on a color printer. You know what I'm gonna do? I'll take it to Lowe's or Home Depot, and I'll go to the paint section, and I would say, "Excuse, excuse me, ma'am. Excuse me, sir. I would like this shade. And by the way, is it green or is it orange or what is it exactly?" And they would tell me that they put it into the machine, and they tell me, and not only would they tell me what color it is, because I don't want to take nobody's word for it. They would tell me how to make said color. Use 3/4 of this and 1/16 of that and 3/32s of this. And what you'll have is a color that we call solar orange.
Oh man, that's like fucking like making the economy work and voting for Trump at the same time, man. That's what silver orange
Well,
means to me. Silver is a great mediator of metals. It's the perfect metal to operate a contingency of a economy. You take the measurements, so electrical measurements that would appeal only to metallic objects. You would take that measurement based on a pound, and in that pound you would translate into a computer system. And when you translated that pound into a computer system, you would have a new proponent, a new exponent, a new permanent foundational numerological number to base all your features on. Then it doesn't go up, it doesn't go down. No manual operation of the computer. That outside of manual operation has to be hindered at all costs. Yeah, I know a lot, man. I fucking got $1 trillion ideas.
You know a lot about how to take the conversation to left field.
I'm a techno wizard just as much as I'm a spiritual one. That's
You're
just
an
who I am.
expert on. You're a wizard on taking the conversation from A to like WW.
That's called influence.
You have an influence on taking the conversation from A to motherfucking the next dimension.
I don't even, because I mean W's. I mean you got to end L's. You gotta go through enough L's to keep getting the W's. That's my proper advice.
See if I get back in here.
Me and Sterling gotten a little bit of a square off.
No, we're friendly here. We're friends.
Somewhat, but it was cool. I like that. I like challenges, man. I wouldn't have challenged the devil 3 fucking straight times. But you know what? If you challenge the devil, he'll always come back stronger. He takes
How do I
it from
challenge
you.
the devil? How do I challenge the devil?
You stand up in the morning. Now, don't do it tonight, dude. You won't sleep tonight. You want to sleep on this. You stand up and you say, I challenge all. With all your power and all your might. And they will all come to you. But the one that comes the last, oh, that's the devil.
Okay.
That's why the Jews call him in their language the challenger.
Okay.
In Hebrew.
Sure.
Satan, not Satan.
Well, I don't know what he calls them, but sorry about that. I had to get out of there for a minute. It got kind of hot.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it got kind of hot in here for a minute. Hey, send me a shot of that Jack you got, Sterling.
I wish I had Jack, man. This dude's a lucky member.
Not you.
It got hot because of something I said?
No, my phone overheated.
Oh my.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
Hey, you know what?
Shit.
This has been the most podcast that, we've talked about numerous things. And for some reason, I don't know why we seem to change subject. Look at this guy.
I saw him.
3 minutes. But you know what? It doesn't matter because all of it, no matter what we've talked about, all within the same category of the paranormal.
You're right. You're right. And I appreciate you to the host. And what should we call you, by the way?
My name
Me? Oh, him? Yeah, he's a good dude.
The host.
Terry. You can look me up at NSPS TV Paranormal Podcast.
Wait, what do we call you? I missed it.
My name's Terry, but you can call me NSPS TV Paranormal.
You got a little bit of a southern drawl. I was born in Texas, by the way. So
what part of Texas?
I know Beaumont, Texas, Dallas, and Mesquite. I grew up around those areas.
You're born in Beaumont.
Yeah, Soldier City.
Hey,
yeah.
I'm somewhere. Hey, I'm in Central Texas. I'm around the Austin, Round Rock area.
Oh, Austin's a beautiful place. I'd love to visit it. A lot of people would. I want to go to Austin and Florida, man. The 2 best places on this nation. Austin and Florida, man.
It fucking sucks.
Yeah.
It's over.
I love DeSantis, dude. I really wish DeSantis would run for president. Everyone would be behind him.
Who would?
One day, I hope. Because you know what? Yeah, I hope to. I hope so. I mean, he's a great guy. Like,
who did you say run for president?
DeSantis.
Ron DeSantis.
From Florida, the governor.
Yeah, the governor of Florida.
He's probably one of the most popular Republicans in the country right now, and I feel like
He's one of the most
he is.
popular politicians since the Kennedys.
But the problem is,
Seriously.
how old is he?
He needs to have some babies, and they need to run to office too.
He has his like 4 little kids. He's probably like 45, if I had to guess, somewhere between 40 and 50. He's in his 40s.
Yeah,
He's a
well, yeah, he's not that much older than me. I mean, I'm 38. He's probably like, I think he's 43 or 44 or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something
about
around
my
that,
age.
mid 40s. Oh, shit.
But he's running, and
His
so
wife's
is Trump.
45, so.
I'm not drunk, and not is Trump.
Yeah,
Dude, and he would fix this nation, man, like he would deal with Florida, like he would deal with this all to get us back on a stability that we all really fucking want, dude, in this country.
wait a
We
minute.
really just want the stability.
So,
Yeah, you know, man, it's been too long. It's been enough. And I can't even sit back and relax on it because I always have to fight, man. I'm a Republican in Massachusetts, dude.
I'm sorry.
Seriously. Yeah. A British Republican.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Bust your bubble.
Yeah, dude. It's torture.
Goddamn. Hey, I don't want to bust your bubble, but this country has never, since the day it was founded, has never been stable. Never.
I would lean on independence, but only for environmental rights. That's the only way I would lean on independence.
I don't know.
Because I believe in the environment just as much as I believe in the person that lives in it. Vote for me.
Hey, before I get out of here, I'm going to say one thing. This country needs to go back to the original founders, which is the Native Americans.
Yeah. For a republic for which it stands, one nation under God.
No way.
That's in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Hey,
Must
guys.
be true.
Hey, Jim.
Yeah.
Hey, man. This podcast has been great. Really, I really enjoyed talking to you guys.
Yep.
And
Is this going to be recorded and put up later?
We have been on this podcast for 2 hours.
Yeah, I see it. 156. 4 minutes to 3.5 minutes till an hour. 2 hours.
Okay. Hey, before we get out of here, tell the world how to get a hold of you and your team, Jim.
Oh, well, Shadows of the Unknown Paranormal.
Let us know, man.
On Facebook. Huh?
Jim, we got a lot of paranormal where I'm from. Jim, if you want to talk to me, hit me up. I'll give you some details because I live in New England. And as you know, that's where the witch trials and all that crazy shit. And that weird lady that, what was that?
All right. Tell the world how to get a hold of you, Jim.
Shadows of the Unknown on Facebook. Wait, Shadows of the Unknown Paranormal on Facebook. And on Twitter, it's SOTUP11 on Twitter. And the Best Ghost Team is on Instagram. I can't remember our website right now because it's different. So
that's fine. You know, hey, thanks for coming on the podcast. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, sir. Sterling, you can look me up if you want to talk. Anytime you want to talk, you can look me up at on Facebook at Terry Crozier, Crozier. Or you can look me up at NSPS TV Paranormal or NSPS TV Paranormal Podcast.
I like all of them.
Hey, and I actually have a show like this that we can actually get down and dirty and really talk about the stuff is NSPS TV Paranormal Podcast after midnight. That's where all the kids are in bed and we can actually talk about stuff that grown folk stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So without being, you know, Facebook being upset with us and all that.
All righty.
So yeah, that's what it's all about. So hey guys, Sterling, tell me how to get a hold of you, man. On Facebook, send me a Facebook request.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if you want to get a hold of me, head down to your local pub and especially if it's karaoke. If it's karaoke night, ask for the guy who recently got kicked out, and meet me in the parking lot.
If you guys can find me on Facebook, just use my name and everything. You guys will find me on Facebook just like this.
Okay, cool, Jim. Hey guys, like I said, it's been a pleasure. Hey, medium guy, stay. He's still on mute. I don't know what he's saying, but hey, it's been a. Hey, let me put him back on so he can have what he. All right, now you're back on.
All right. No, it's not on you, man. It's not on anyone. I just want people to recognize I'm trying to make like a spirituocracy, a spiritual form of government. You know, I know it'll never happen. It's a pipe dream. He's even laughing at it. I know it'll never happen. It's a pipe dream. He's even laughing at it.
All right, guys. Hey, guys, you guys have a good night now, and I will see you guys in a little bit. Hey, Sterling, send that Facebook request. Jim, like I
You
said, it's
too.
been a pleasure. And if you can, send that Facebook request, and we can do this again on Friday nights after midnight, where
Yep.
we actually get down and dirty.
You too, man. I'll
About the
find you and I'll send you a request too, and you can send me a request too if you want.
Yes, sir. Hey, you guys have a good night.
Terry,
now.
you can send me one too if you want.
Hey, all right. Well, you too drunk, man. No, you're not. All right. Hey, well, look me up at NSPS TV Paranormal Podcast, guys. Hey, peace. You guys have a good night.